Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video today for you, a little bit different to what I normally do. I am working in what Jesus commands from Bythewell4God, and I have decided this time to create a 6x6 book. I have some Bristol vellum paper in there, that's mixed media paper, and I have already cut it down and used my cinch machine to punch the holes. And today I am going to actually do the intro page from the devotional. I don't normally Bible journal the intro page, but I just wanted to do that this time. You can see here I'm just kind of showing you. I go through and I always read the devotional first and then make notes and whatever. And then I took the little flashcards that go with the kit and I just went ahead and tucked them in the pages where they are going to belong. So there's these two humble and my yoke flashcards that go along with the information in the introduction. So I thought I would just go ahead and make a little page this time. Like I said, I don't normally do that, but I just wanted to do that this time. And as I was reading, I came across the point that obedience begins with our humility. And so I'm taking these two cards, one says humble and one says my yoke, and I'm just using the little Tile Alpha stickers, and I pulled one from my stash that I felt like matched that blue. And I'm going to kind of make little subtitles on these two flashcards. So I'm just gathering everything up here. And I always use the some tweezers when I'm doing this with the Tile Alphas because I'm not very nimble with my fingers sometimes. And so what I'm doing is on the blue card where it says my yoke, I am going to use the Tile Alphas and I'm just going to put is easy under there. And that's, from Matthew. And then the card that says humble, I'm going to put underneath that where it says humble as a child, because it's referencing how Jesus was telling everyone that we need to enter the kingdom, with childlike faith, essentially. And so now I'm just rounding the corners here of each of those cards, and then I'm going to use those just as kind of a couple points that I'm pulling from the introduction. So I'm taking this pattern paper from the paper pad that you can get with the kit, and I always buy the 6x8 since they started coming out with that because I just prefer that size, but I ended up doing a 6x6 book, so I'm going to have to trim down those pages, but that's okay because I can use those scraps for some other things. So I went ahead and just trimmed it down and punched the holes in my cinch machine so that it fits in my book. And I'm going to use these two flashcards here. I'm trying to not cover up that little flower in the corner. And then I want to find a way to include this statement that obedience begins with humility. I think that's a key for this whole devotional about obeying the commands of Christ, that, we have to humble ourselves in order to really be obedient in the way that we need to. So here I'm pulling out this little letterboard stamp set you can get with the devotional kit. And I think this particular stamp set is going to be so versatile for making little titles and different things. So here I am stamping the letterboard part just out on some white heavyweight kind of cardstock. I'm not doing it on any kind of watercolor paper or anything. It's just I think it's 120-pound cardstock. I'm just going to stamp it, and I stamped kind of so that it has more ink around the outside, and you can see that I purposely did that so that the bold lines, they're not so dark in the middle of the letterboard, because I'm going to be stamping in black, and so I didn't want it to be kind of competing. So I'm just using the little alphas that come in there, and I'm going to stamp out obedience begins with humility. And I messed up the first one, so I had to do a second one. I just kind of included all that there, and I'm using some Neo colors, kind of testing which one I want. And I'm just going to do the outside of the letterboard, and I'm applying most of the color toward the outside edge, and then I'm going to use my water brush and just kind of fade it into the middle. It just helps give it a little bit more dimension when you do it that way. So I'm just going to go around and use my watercolor or water pen here to just fade out that color. I love that Neocolors, how easily they respond to water. I've had some other watercolor things that, you know, it's a lot more difficult, but these are so creamy that they just, you don't have to do much to them to get the color to move around. So I'm just going around the outside here, just touching up some places, trying to keep it as even looking as I can. And I'm just going to dry that with my heat tool. And I'm actually just stamping on the back of a piece of paper that I had printed a devotional on, and I messed up the printing. So I'm just using the back side of that, and use my scraps. And the inside line kind of got a little bit light, so I just went around that with a ruler and a pen and redrew in that middle line there. And now I'm just fussy cutting that out. And when I set it here, the white of that paper just was really stark against all of the other colors on here. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and color in the inside of the letterboard. I'm looking at it here, and I just don't like how white that is. So I'm going to test a couple of my other Neocolors to get the right color to match with this page. And then I'm just going to go over and color in that letterboard. I used archival ink, so it's waterproof, so I have the luxury of being able to do that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just scribbling my Neocolor onto an acrylic block, and then I'm adding water. And so in this sense, in this application, I'm using it almost more like applying watercolor. I just wanted to make sure that everything was going to go on there without bleeding or whatever. So I'm going to put these things here on this page. I'm just trying to, I feel like there's that kind of empty space up in the right hand corner, and I found this Learn from Jesus banner that was with the die cuts that came in the kit. So I'm going to use that, and these are just kind of, you know, some of the main points that I'm taking away, and that I just want to remember. I feel like this is a good way to include all that information here on an introduction page. And I always like things hanging off my page, so I put that letterboard kind of hanging off at the top, and I'll trim that down. And then I'm just adhering down the card that says humble like a child, and the one that says my yoke is easy. And then I'll put that die cut up in the top corner that says Learn from Jesus. And that is pretty much it. I'm just trimming off the edge here. It's a real simple page, but like I said, it's just the introduction page. This is what it looks like when it's finished. If you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye-bye.